Go for it.
Okay, so what you want to do is make sure you've wedged the clay into a ball. Got all the air bubbles. Nice ball here. Before you can start spinning it on the wheel, you want to make sure you've gotten a plastic bat and put it on the wheel here. And you take extra clay and you clamp it down around the edges. Now you don't have to put it every single spot. You just want to make sure that you clamp it down so the bat doesn't move around as the wheel is spinning here. You want to make sure that not only do you push it down, but you push it in to lock the bat onto the wheel here. It doesn't have to look pretty, it's just for function. The function of it. So now, I take my ball here. This might be a bit much for what I want to use, so I'm going to squeeze off a bit here. You want to make sure you have water and all your materials here. And you want to make sure they're out of your way so they don't go flying off and spilling, which has happened in the past, especially with all the electrical cords down here. We want to be safe about this. You want to slam it into the middle here. You want to squish it so you get a nice ball shaped here. Now what's really important is that a lot of people like taking their hands and doing the same motion with their hands, cupping it like this all the time. So you want to make sure you're using your right hand correctly and your left hand correctly. To start off with this, I want to push with my right hand down into the clay to push it onto the bat so it doesn't slide around. Then I take my left hand, anchor it against my leg so it is not moving around, and I'm pushing down and into my left hand with my right hand. So I start up the wheel. Now what I have here is I want to make sure that it's not too fast and not too slow. I'm going to dip my hands. I want to make sure that they're really wet all the time. So I'm taking it down here and I'm pressing down with my right hand, anchoring my left hand into the clay here to center the clay. Keep dipping water in because you want your hands very slippery for this part. So pressing it down, holding the left hand steady. Now what I want to do is I want to cup it at this point, and I want to push in and make the clay go up into a cylinder. Need more water. Press it down again to center it. You can feel it is centered. If it's not centered, the clay is going like this and your hand can feel the pressure. It's a nice smooth action once the clay is centered. Okay, it's fairly centered. Now I smooth off the top here. Now I take both thumbs here, get some more water on the clay, and I press in gently. Hopefully it finds the center. There we go. Now at this point, the last time, the right hand was doing most of the work. This time you want to cup the right hand on the side and use the left hand to press down and out against the right hand. Now your right hand is keeping it steady, and you're taking your left hand and pushing it into the clay, pushing into your right hand, and you want to keep the right hand steady. So I'm pushing it down and into the right hand, and it's elevating the clay on the side. Now you want to make sure that you dig down far enough. You don't want a thick bottom on your clay, so you want to press down far enough, but you also don't want to do it so you have a thin bottom either. So I'm pressing down, and now I'm taking it and I'm moving my hands up to pull the clay up. Like so. It's fairly centered here. Now the water absorbs into the clay fairly quickly, so you want to make sure it's wet. But you can also have too much water at the bottom, and I use my sponge to sponge it out there. And you can also use a sponge to smooth the clay. Now at this point, I can keep it a bowl like this. The top part is very thin right here, but the bottom is still thick. So I'm going to take my right hand again, put it on the outside, wet the left hand, and now I'm going to press the bottom part into my right hand and make it thinner. Now, for our project, what we're doing teapots, what I'm doing now is I'm taking my right hand and I'm angling it in and pushing with my right hand, and the left hand is supporting it, and I'm pressing in to close the top in here for a teapot. Now of course I'd want to work a little more on the bottom part, but for time's sake This just shows you how to do the top. You don't want to go too fast, you don't want to go too slow. Now I'm going to take my finger, and I want to give a nice lip here, so lots of cool things you can do with your hands once you get it going. Now you're going to press with the right hand in some more. Close it up some more. Try to get an even top there. Looks pretty good. Now, at this point, what you want to do is you want to take a wood tool and you want to make sure that you scrape the bottom here, because if you don't, if it has a lot of clay here, it's going to crack when it dries. So I take this, anchor my arm here, and I scrape away the bottom part here, and I want to go in a little bit. Get a nice bottom with it. If I don't do this, many pots I've seen cracked have this really thin edge on them that cracks when it dries. Now I can do a lot of other things with this pot, but I think this is just a good example of to make a pot. This is a good point to make a teapot. Now once I stop it here, I can cut out the side and I can make a spout, I can make a handle, I can do other things and add it on to my pot that I have right here. But this is just showing you a basic technique of how to make a thrown pot. Any questions? Okay, that's it.